Hello and welcome to the Ross Dillon video of working on the Civic today. Today we're going to be doing some gearbox work, so we're doing a fluid change with Honda MTF3. We're changing some shifter bushes with, I think they're Speed Factory or Hybrid Racing shifter bushings, and then we're also doing detent springs, hopefully improve the shift because there's quite a lot of shift flop, which I'll show you in a little bit, and hopefully we'll eliminate some of that with these new upgrades. So let's head outside and see what we're doing. So actually I stand corrected, the shifter bushes are energy suspension, all came from Tegiwa. If you're here in the UK, definitely advise ordering your parts from there, really good service and always speedy delivery, so check them out. So I'm going to start with the shifter bushes. I've actually dropped down the exhaust. This isn't necessary, but I'm doing a gasket change anyway, but I think it's going to make it a lot easier for accessing some of the bolts. So the first one is the circular bush, which if you slide under, you can see is there with a 12mm bolt in the centre, and then supposedly you just push that out with your thumbs and swap in the new one. So let's give that a try. So that's the old bush, did come out reasonably okay by hand, just found pulling out the other side rather than trying to push it through worked a lot better. And just brighten this up for you up here. I have managed to get the new one in. What I found worked best for that is using the concaved washer and a G-clamp to get it in. Once you get it started, it goes in really well, and it is quite fiddly. On the video I watched, the D-series ones are split and have a insert, so are a lot easier, whereas this one's actually pushed in. But once you get it going, G-clamp will get you in nice and easy, and that's how that looks. So the rear bush looks like this, and is at the end of those arms there's two 12mm bolts which I've removed down there. You can get away with not removing the exhaust, I think, be a bit more fiddly, but I've dropped those bolts out and I'll show you that bush on the end there. So my hand's on the end of that plate now, and the two bolts come out either side. You can see that's the arm there. There's a little plate on top of that bush that you need to retain, but from what I can tell, that just now, with a bit of wiggling, there it is, rubber bush and metal plate, and then just swap the plate over, new bush on, job's a good one. So I also found all these two little, oh hello focus, these two little inserts that were in the old bush that weren't in the new one, so again, they just slide out relatively easily, swap them over. Now I just need to slide it onto the shifter linkage. And there, that's the shifter linkage all bolted back up. Interested to see if just the bushes make much difference. Essential. So the main thing that takes out is back and forth play. So you can see there's not a lot in there now, and it feels a lot nicer going sort of first, second, third, fourth. There's still quite a lot of side slop, which I don't think I'm going to get resolved today. I think a lot of that's in the, there's a bush in the actual ball, I think, in the centre, tends to contribute to that, along with one of the other bushes that I haven't got. And then the detent springs will just make it more notchy in terms of, again, when you're going forwards and backwards, but definitely a noticeable difference, definitely worth the money. So next job for today is doing an oil change on the gearbox. So you need a 3/8 socket, just the actual square bit to go in there. That'll loosen this off. That's your drain, and then up behind the drive shaft there's a 17mm bolt, and that's your fill port. I'm going to use a funnel with some tube on to fill up to there. I've jacked the car up. Luckily our drive, the way it tapers, means that when it's on stands it is level. Make sure the car is level when you fill that oil back up. So it'll be interesting to see what colour the oil is that comes out. So I've drained most of the oil out, there's still a little bit left. I'm going to just let it sit and then try again. You can see it's probably due a change, but thankfully there's no silky bits. There's still some colour in it, it's not completely black, which is good, but definitely due a change. So now I'm going to attempt these detent springs. So on the B series gearbox, towards the front, you've got 12mm, 12mm. I've just cracked these off so they're now easy to get off. And inside is a spring with a ball on the top. Taking these out, do not lose the ball, because you need to keep that, and then it is the spring will be changing. So I'm going to whip one of those out and show you what that looks like. There that is with the ball on the top. So simply take the spring out, keeping the ball. I want the new spring in, ball back on the top, and drop the ball. Now that I have dropped this, you need to be very careful to clean it because it's going back into the gearbox and not at full arm's reach. So we drop that on and simply thread it back in. So with the new springs there is a bit more preload on this, you do have to push up while pushing that in. Then we simply bolt that up and then we'll nip that 12mm up in a second. And that is as simple as doing the detent springs. I don't know if any oil would come out when it's full. I think based on the level you might get a bit come out, but not much. And I'll just do a side by side of those two springs. So there's those two springs side by side. We'll look at them from the top. We can see the new one is a bit longer. It's also a thicker steel, so it should be a stiffer spring. And I can feel that when you put it back in, it's definitely a stronger spring. So it'll be interesting to see what the difference is. So I'm going to get the other one done and see what it's like. So gearbox is now full, and that the fill port is now put back in. The perk of using the fill port is you fill it with oil until it starts dripping out of there. I normally then fill it again, make sure it's definitely dripping out of there, reinstall that bolt, and you know your gearbox is full of oil. So gearbox is full of oil. Next thing will be get it back on the ground and go for a test drive and see how it handles. So I've now tested it with the new shifter bushes and detent springs. You're going to have to excuse the road traffic, there seems to be a lot of it. Drives much better, definitely worth those poly bushes and the detent springs. If you've got side to side slop, it will not get rid of that, but it helps for relatively cheap and relatively easily. So that's it, yeah, definitely an improvement. Just out on a drive, bedding in my new blue stuff, ready to start hitting the tracks again this year. So follow this channel for more. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe. If you've got any questions, drop them below. This is an EM1 Civic, so just bear that in mind when you consider any of these parts. And if you've got any questions about the EM1, hit me up below. Thanks for watching.